Well, what a difference a week makes. It was just last Thursday, can you believe it, that Trump was convicted on 34 counts of falsified business records in the New York hush money trial. But his wins in Florida and Georgia today, well, they have drastically changed the entire legal picture ahead. So why is Judge Cannon in the Mar-a-Lago classified documents case once again throwing a wrench in the schedule? Well, here to help try to answer that question, retired California Superior Court Judge Judge Cordell. Judge, thank you so much for being here. I've been wondering and waiting to talk to you about this. Is there any legitimate judicial purpose for Judge Cannon to be slow walking the case in the way that she is?
Well, thank you for having me back again. So, Laura, subtlety is not in Judge Cannon's toolbox. Quite the opposite. She is blatantly following the Trump playbook, which is delay, do everything, no matter how legally ridiculous, to stop Trump from going to trial in this classified documents case and to keep him from being held accountable. So her latest delay the trial ploy is to hold a hearing, this time on the constitutionality of Jack Smith's appointment as special counsel. Ridiculous. It's already been taken care of, ruled on by other courts, but no, she wants to hold a hearing. And in addition, she says, well, why don't I drag it out an additional hour and a half by having 3 outside individuals, they're not witnesses, they're not parties to this case, to participate in the hearing, to give her, so she can hear their expertise in this whole area.
No, excuse me, Judge, on that point, I do wonder, for some people listening, they may say, hold on, that specific part sounds like the amicus briefs that a Supreme Court might entertain. How is this different than, say, these friend of court briefs where people are not parties to the action, but they have some vested interest and they want to share their thoughts in a way that might be helpful? Why and how is this instance different?
Yeah, I mean, in this instance, the judge herself is reaching out and saying, oh, come in and be a part of this hearing, not allowing the lawyers to first come in, make their arguments, and then present, if they want to at the hearing, some individuals or some more expertise in this issue. Instead, she's just kind of, no, I'll just open it up and we'll just drag this out some more. But, most importantly, Laura, Judge Cannon has not made any rulings on any substantive issues when she could have. And by that happening, this means she can't be reversed or taken up on appeal, because you can't appeal anything until the judge has made a substantive ruling. So that means she can then slow walk everything without any repercussions. This woman, this judge really knows how to manipulate the judicial system, and she's doing it very, very effectively, although blatantly and right in front of us in plain sight, and she's getting away with it.
Will the special counsel Jack Smith have any recourse?
Well, again, what recourse if she hasn't made a ruling? So she'll listen to these issues and, well, I think I want to have another hearing, or I want to add something more, and still not making a ruling. Just like the gag order, Jack Smith's request for a gag order, right? And so what does she do? Well, we're going to have to hold a hearing, and, we'll have to see about where I go on that. And by the way, at that hearing, let's hear other stuff too. Let's hear about the prosecution, no, the defense wants to interrogate federal witnesses who were maybe a part of the search. I mean, it just goes on and on. And remember, early on, she asked them to propose jury instructions on an issue that's not even relevant to the case.
And there's no trial date in this case. I want to remind everyone this point. I have very limited time, Judge, unfortunately, but I do want to ask you quickly, since you mentioned gag orders, there is still one pending in the Manhattan case under Judge Merchan. There is a request that's been made for that to go away now that the conviction has taken place. The appeal will obviously be pending. Would you modify or remove the gag order at this junction if you were Judge Merchan?
Okay, very quickly. Judge Merchan has jurisdiction over Trump, not only through the sentencing, but even afterwards if he places Trump on probation. In my view, the judge should not should not lift the gag order, because the purpose of lifting the gag order is Donald Trump's decision, he's going to attack jurors and he's going to attack the witnesses who testified against him in order to encourage others to make threats of violence against him. The First Amendment does not protect that kind of speech. So as long as the judge has jurisdiction over Donald Trump, the judge has every right to and should continue the gag order to protect jurors and witnesses for the period of time that the judge has jurisdiction over Trump.
Gee, I wonder if his legal counsel will have an issue with that, Judge. It's obviously rhetorical. They certainly will. We'll see what Judge Rashad has to say about all this. Your Honor, always a pleasure to be with you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.